What's going on, everybody? It's Bill Bailey with today's Boondoggle. And real quick housekeeping note, if you are watching us on YouTube or if you are watching us on Rumble or BitChute, please hit that follow and subscribe button. And if you're listening to us on whatever podcast platform you utilize, like Spotify or iTunes and stuff like that, please hit that follow and subscribe button so we can continue to bring you uh, conversations and interviews like the one I'm about to have right now with Arash of the band Tarantist. How you doing, Arash?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. I've been, like I said before we went on, kind of looking forward to hearing your message. And
Amazing.
I remember hearing a little bit about the band back in the day when you guys first you know uh came over, and then there's so much going on in the world, but before we get into all that, I like to get a quick background. So do you remember originally what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Um, when I was very little, it was a couple of other options, maybe pilots, and then engineer, and then maybe movie director, and then at some point, very like the early teenagehood, so I made a solid decision to be a professional musician, so I can
Nice.
go through the world and visit the entire world as a musician.
Nice. And then
And learn different cultures, get to know different people, make new friends.
yeah, totally. I like what music kind of caught your ear back then that kind of attracted you to uh becoming a musician?
Well, I grew up in an environment that rock and blues music has been playing a lot. So my mother was listening to a lot of like Pink Floyd's and blues and stuff and rock and stuff. So then the more music that I got exposed to, the more obviously the more windows are opening for you, your vision expands. And then when I was in the almost getting a teenager, the heavy metal music just changed everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Metal saved our lives.
Yeah, and I want to talk a little bit about that too, because I mean, for the audience that might not know your story and know of the band, um, want to fill them in on where you grew up and why how you were able to get into music, but how you had to kind of as you started playing, how you guys kind of had to stay underground.
Yeah, so I grew up in Tehran, city of Tehran in Iran, and as you may know, since like 44 years ago, there are a occupying barbarian group occupying the country. So things got crazy, got changed. There was a revolution back in 1979, a very beautiful country with regular and normal laws and regulations, very in the process of developing and moving forward, got taken over by these crooks, and they changed everything back to like 14 1500 years ago, some religious crazy nonsense rules and regulations. So things got forbidden and illegal because God and their prophet didn't like that. So and music got banned illegally. uh, Human rights didn't exist anymore. The definition of that has been changed to another nonsense. Women, they had to cover themselves. They were not allowed to go to the public or do anything. The cover, the hijab bullshit and stuff like that. And people with other beliefs, with other thoughts, minorities or LGBTQ family, they were all just destroyed. They did not have any right to exist or to be there. So everything moved to the underground scene in
And
their.
this was going on. This rule was taking place. You grew up in this. basically, correct?
Yeah, that one since not revolution of 1979, things changed this way. Yeah, I was born a few years later through that. So when in the middle of all those crises, we were born, and so yeah, when we were growing up, things still was like that. A few years later, some reforms to be called. They were trying to make things a little bit better because they could not resist against the people. People wanted freedom, but wanted different things. A little bit was better, slightly, not completely, but everything had to be under their umbrella of nonsense. And then musicians, for example, they need to get permission from their morality offices. Whatever lyrics or type of music that they prefer to be praising their beliefs and their God and their prophets and things like that, those musics were getting only permitted by their own artists and celebrities or whoever you call it, their own production. Other than that, you didn't have any right to exist, to promote, to produce, to do anything. So things had to be underground, private, in your own home or for yourself.
And
And
is that basically like because you said your mom listened to Pink Floyd and stuff like that. Now, would that have been considered propaganda, like contraband? Is that
yes, definitely, definitely,
so in
definitely.
in your home she was, I mean, basically had to sneak in the music she enjoyed.
Yes, yeah. And then yeah, some tapes and things from before the revolution that they had, or the family and friends that were coming from the overseas, just bringing us the stuff. And then later on, when internet came and satellite came, things got a little bit better, more wider, and you had more access to things. But in the early years, no. So it was just total. The whole world was going to another direction. This, am I allowed to use profanity?
Yeah, yes.
So these whatever's, they were dragging the country back to 1400 years ago. You know.
Okay.
And then rock and metal, they were consider you as a devil worshiper. This nonsense, old school thing, expired thing that is still, that thing is still is valid in their thoughts and beliefs. Unfortunately, Iranian people are still suffering from those kind of garbage thoughts.
Yeah.
And you were getting arrested if you were carrying an instrument and guitar, specifically electric guitar. Oh wow, what a Western devilish kind of tool. So you're getting arrested, and then here's your execution order. Go to the hell, because our religion doesn't like that. 1400 years ago, they said, do not play heavy metal. That's against our, you know. So this craps, I mean, we had to deal with all those bullshits. So, and then we were teenagers by the late 90s and things like that, playing all those things with the music with our friends and classmates. Then we got fortunate to be getting exposed internationally through the internet. So MySpace was very helpful
Oh
to us.
yeah, yeah. Now
And then,
before that though, I mean, for you guys just to get together and, you know, not just like listen to the music and enjoy it, but like you said, carrying a guitar, electric guitar, could have been a death sentence. You guys to get together and actually like practice, which is pretty loud music. Like, how are you able to get together and like jam and keep it so like underground? Because it
yeah,
could have been your
yeah,
lives.
yeah, very, very secret and crazy, very secretly, quietly. Yahoo Messenger was helpful with arranging private shows and things like that back in the time. And then we were practicing or rehearsing 2 story down the ground in a closet-sized basement. All the doors and windows been soundproofed with like this thick foams and everything. So very crazy, very quiet and dangerous. And anytime, any minute, there was a risk of someone, a neighbor or someone just calling cops or police, the morality police on us. And
Yeah.
like it happened to a lot of our friends. It happened to a lot of our other people, other bands. They got arrested. A couple of minor incidents happened to us also, but due to me being a internet computer geek and having access to the internet, so we got very soon we got that international exposure, and we got invited to go perform overseas, and then we came out of the country. But if we would have stayed there a few more months more, I wouldn't be here today. I think I would have been in their heaven or their hell or something like that.
Yeah. And so you guys are, you mentioned there was other bands that weren't so lucky. What was like the underground music scene like? And you said you were able to have like secret like shows and get kind of people to play for and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It almost sounds like, maybe like Christian missionaries coming into, a Muslim country, and trying to, you're preaching the gospel of metal, but it could have been a death sentence at the risk of your life. I mean, what
Yeah.
was that scene like getting together? Did you get to play with other bands before?
You know what? It was you're a teenager and you're brainless somehow, right? You don't see, you see up to some certain point. So
Yeah.
and the passion and the adrenaline level was very high. We were just, through text messages and phone calls with our friends, putting things together, arranging things very quietly, and then we only were letting a few people that we trust, we were letting them know, no strangers, our classmates, our relatives, our friends, like that. And there was a couple of, or maybe a few incidents that we had shows and events with other bands, and in the middle of it also, in finding a nonsense reasons to perform at the universities, for example, amphitheater or some places like that. But in the middle of the show, everything has been getting canceled, everything has been getting turned over. But well, we had a small tiny basement area. We would have invited our friends there, and very quietly, like doing a very dangerous thing.
Yeah.
And locking up all the doors and windows, play a 30-minute show, then opening up the windows to get some fresh air in, and then playing the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many like, there's so many like scenes here in the States, that they say, oh, we're really part of the underground, or we're really punk rock.
No, that's just a bullshit underground.
Yeah.
You wanna
you
wanna experience the real underground? Let me show you like some footages of those days. The fear. See, for the underground, the first thing that should exist is the fear of your own matter of life or death. If you're playing a real underground show, any minute you might get killed. So
Yeah.
don't brag that you are an underground. You're. Let me close my mouth shut. Sorry.
And that's part of why I wanted to have you on here. I mean, it's just I can't imagine, like, like you said, you're a teenager and you're kind of not planning ahead, but you're doing something that you love, that you feel, that you're passionate about, but you're basically something that you believe in so much that you're willing to die for.
That's what we did. Yeah, putting our life in front for heavy metal.
Yeah. So there's a lot of
breeds.
people that say that, that there's a lot of metalheads out there, but I'm telling you what, man, I'm glad I'm having you on to give a lesson to all the supposed metal.
I'll challenge everyone. Every tough heavy metal dude, come challenge me to see who is tough. I'm just kidding, but I mean, I'm having fun with this conversation, but that's a reality. I'm not bragging, but just messing with the heavy metal family.
But so, you were good with using MySpace, and I mean, that alone, because I'd read how, all of a sudden then you had like CNN and NPR, and I mean, the word got out about who you guys were, what you were doing. and you were still there
Yes.
when you were being discovered, and all this media
Yes.
hype started coming. So wasn't that like, I mean, could that have gone awfully bad and, for you guys?
It
Because then
could
it's like
definitely,
the
definitely. And
cover's
then
been pulled off,
yeah,
you know?
so we started receiving a lot of attention, a lot of requests, emails. People, authors, medias were getting visa to come into the Iran, specifically to have a talk with us, to write book about us, to do episodes and documentaries about us. And we had you're a teenager, so your schedule is like busier than Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That many foreigners are coming to visit you. It was exciting. It was, it was giving us the drive to keep doing it. So we knew that we're doing something wrong. We're doing something evidence. This guys from like Japan, America, Germany, Austria, Europe, all over the place. They're coming and visiting us, putting time to talk with us. So we're doing something right. Let's keep doing it. And then all those media or press that were spreading the word brought us that internationally recognized artist type of thing, status. We got invited to festivals in Europe and then South by Southwest to the US. And then we came to the US as internationally recognized artists and then continued there. So we were lucky. I mean, everything happened so fast.
Yeah,
If,
I was going to say,
like I,
couldn't the Iranian government, that now that the cover's been blown and what you
yeah,
guys have been doing there, couldn't they have shut everything down and just you guys
yeah,
could have, but I
totally.
guess thankfully everything, happened, as you said, so fast that you were able to, I mean, get approval to leave.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. A living
and
example of heavy metal saved my life. So yeah.
and then so you were able to play those festivals over in Europe, but then when was it where you guys were able to come to the States, and what was that procedure
it
like
was
to
it,
come?
it was around 2007 that we came here. We got an invitation to play at South by Southwest and then a few other shows. And then we went through a long visa process. So we had to miss the first year, first shows and stuff like that. It was very tough. Then we had to wait for the next year. And things started like in the US, officially started around 2008, the shows that we had and festivals that we had. And since then, we are here in Los Angeles.
And real quick too, I know we discussed it a little bit before we went on, but I'm always curious about band names. What's the meaning behind your the name?
Tarantist means bitten by tarantula. So tarantulas are nasty people in the society. You get bitten by them, you get toxic, and you get dance disease, which is called tarantism. Our first album is tarantism. And then with that dance disease, you want to get the poison out of your body. And that dance for us is those headbangs. So through headbangs and those movements, we try to, heal ourselves and clean our bodies from all those toxic things of the society.
Okay, great. And then like also it's kind of like would it be like a reconditioning, because I'm sure, some of the things you grow up around culturally, especially under that type of government, you know,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
um, there's a lot of, I mean, some of us, like, even here in the States, grow up in maybe a family that's a certain religion or something like that. And it's just like you have these beliefs that you're taught. And then as you get older, then you have to relearn or unlearn what you've been taught. Is that part of the process you guys went through, or is that something that you kind of already experienced at a young age and you knew right from wrong, and that's why you chose?
I mean, the family is very important in this matters. So luckily, we kind of learned it at the early years and ages. So I think that what family teaches you is very important. So
I agree. Yes.
Yeah.
And then, so you guys come over here to LA. You said you moved around here about 2008. Things started happening for you guys, and you've been able to play some festivals and share stage with some of the bands that you would sneak to listen to over there. Correct? Like, who were some of
Yes,
your
correct.
favorites that you would enjoy listening to back home in Iran?
Yeah, in
That
Iran, actually, we call it Iran.
Iran.
Yeah, the music that usually I grew up, one of the major ones was Pink Floyd, and then Metallica, and then Zeppelin, of course, Testament, the Slayer, and Death, and those bands have a very heavy influence on me. And then sharing stage with bands back in 2008, we were playing the South by Southwest Festival. We were playing at around 9:15 at the venue, and then on the evening of that show, because South by does the secret announcements daily. In the middle of the day, they announce there is this show going on tonight. So they announced Metallica is playing at 10 o'clock at a couple of doors away from our venue. So, and then the next year it was Motorhead. So the next year it was like another great bands, a lot of great bands that we had the pleasure and honor of like being in the same festival with them.
Now, have you ever got to meet some of these musicians now since you've been
Yes,
here?
yes. I've met almost all of my favorite musicians, role models. Some of them, yes, I've met with them. Most of them, they already knew about us. They've heard about us. Most of them, some of them, when we talked, I introduced myself and my project and my band. They were very impressed. Beautiful heavy metal family.
Yeah, and how? I mean, I was going to say, how inspired did a lot of them seem by your story? That, I mean, their music played a role in inspiring you, where you were, under the conditions you were living in to seek out this profession, and then you were able to get out and now create your own.
From them, well, I think all of them, they were very impressed and happy that what they've been doing has a good effect on other people's lives. So, and at this point, I would like to ask them to be more vocal about what is happening about in Iran, about Iranian peoples, what is happening with the musicians, rappers, heavy metal musicians. Everyone are in jail, getting arrested, getting executed. Women's rights. These are your fans. They've been
Yeah.
listening to your music. I would like you to be more vocal about that, more to post more about what is happening. The Iranian current revolution, people are trying to change things, to revert back things to the normal. I would like you to spread the word and try to raise more awareness about this matter.
I agree, and that's, like I said, another reason why I wanted to have you on. You asked earlier if you could use profanity, and I try and be as free speech as possible on my podcast. I don't know what I've had YouTube take down a couple episodes because we're under their rule, but I mean I let it fly here, and I like to get these types of messages out to the audience and stuff, and I found, and I want to get up to current events with you and your latest song, but real quick, I wanted to ask too, like life transitioning, when you guys first moved. I mean, you've been here for a little while now, but what was life like, for you? What kind of culture shocks were there for you, and like what was life like transitioning here to life in the States from growing up in Iran?
Um, again, like I said, my own personal experience would be totally different from other people. Again, because of the family, the awareness, the familiarity of them with the Western culture, I was blending a little bit. It was very smoother for me. but for other people would be definitely more difficult and more challenging. Still, being familiar with things, seeing them through movies, films, relatives, sharing their experiences, all those things. But when you step in it on your own, when you experience it by yourself, it is different. It is very shocking. It is challenging. A lot of ups and downs. For example, in Tehran, when you look at north, there are mountains and hills. But in LA, when you look at south, there are hills. You know, so things are, the whole world is upside down. So when it is night over there, it is early morning here. These are the basic things. But and then the language, the small tiny things in the culture, everything is very challenging. So
But
it's
like,
tough. It's
you
not
know,
for everyone.
but then also like, the things that, were basically forbidden over there. And then you come here, like, I mean, a lot of um, just were you shocked at some of the things that you're able to do here in the States that wouldn't have been like
Yeah, the main
allowed to?
question that pops up in your mind is why in these years, in this stage of the whole world, some crazy idiot people are still thinking that much like backwards. Why these normal things that we call it freedom in the West world, why these things are forbidden or illegal in the other part of the world? What is it causing? What's happening? What is your main fucking reason to say this thing is forbidden, this thing is against? Who, which god, which fucking prophet, who?
Yeah.
You know, we are all human. We are all creating this bullshit in our own dirty, nasty fucking minds. No people, no spiritual creature is above us. They don't exist. No one is holier than the fucking current human being. No one.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I was raised Catholic and stuff, and that's like part of what I was talking about with having to unlearn some of the things that I was taught. And I'm in recovery, and I do believe in a higher power, of my understanding, and I consider myself a Christian, but I totally agree 100% with you, because I see the biggest problem with any of us having a connection with the God of our understanding is usually because the followers ego and pride get in the way, and they try and control it. They use it as a control thing, where it's supposed to be like a personal relationship, for ourselves, for our own personal growth, but when others use it as a control mechanism to tell you this is wrong. I've had people in my Christian circle tell me that I should stop listening to secular music and going to heavy metal festivals and stuff like that. It's like, and they're like almost no different than, where you came from. And
Yeah.
it just boggles my mind,
Yeah.
that,
I mean, I didn't mean to be offensive to any religion, any prophet, any representative of any faith or anything, or anyone who practices. I'm
oh yeah,
supportive
I
of
mean,
it.
you're allowed to believe what you
Definitely.
believe and say what you want to say
But
on here, man.
I'm saying it, these things shouldn't create, barriers that someone orders or tries to, to be on top of another person because of those kind of beliefs. No, the person that doesn't have faith on those things might be right also, might have a more valid points that what you're thinking.
Yes, I
I,
agree
I, I, I
100%.
look at these differences between religions as different versions of Mac OS or Microsoft Windows. They get upgraded during the days, and the old school influencers, they didn't have social media, so they would gather people in a desert or wherever and gather some people, and they become a successful influencers. you know
Yeah,
I look
yeah.
at things that way. So things need to be updated and upgraded. We don't
Oh,
have to
yeah.
get stuck in whatever 1,000 years ago.
Exactly. And then, I wanted you to kind of like you put the plea out to other musicians and people in other artists out there that that seemed like we ignore so much of the injustices going on in the world, because it's not personally affecting me, and
Yeah.
and this one thing that that has been really bothering me about, America right now, is the fact of how easily everybody's distracted, and they have these idol worships of celebrities and stuff like that, but they're so distracted by like bread and circuses here, that they don't think, well, because these things are happening in another world, that they can't happen, or other part of the world, that they can't happen here.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of things that are changing here. Can you kind of educate like the people, or especially like your fellow musicians, on like that have lived their entire lives here, and they kind of feel entitled, or they forget how good they got it, or the importance of staying educated and willing to keep the fight to make it
Yeah.
better?
The main thing that comes into actually it came to my vision from the beginning was people here are taking things for granted.
Yeah.
So I think, okay, always it is like that, it's going to be like that. And yes, unfortunately, they were not aware of what's happening in the other parts of the world, in the other countries. And you go to Guitar Center or any other store, buy an instrument, you call a couple of friends in your garage or any other place, rehearsing rooms available for you, you go rehearse and call the local venues. You put a show, your friends are there. If they like it, the crowd gets more and more, and then some other people come and give you contracts or whatever. So, and then you're in a business. But in some other countries, there's no, or there has not been any music store. If you were looking for a music store, you were labeled as a infidel. If you find a music store and buy an instrument, even if you find the perfect instrument that you want, or not perfect, just simple type of instrument that you want, if they see that with you holding to it, you'll get arrested, you go to jail, you go your death penalty. If you play the music, where to play it? Garage, rehearsing room? No, there's nowhere for you to go do all those things. Okay, fine. Let's do it in the basements, in the closet side, in somewhere hidden. Where do you want to perform that? Can you call the local club? There's no fucking club or venue there for you. Okay, we find a place. Sure, let's play the music. Here's the permission from the morality fucking office. Do you have the permission? Are you with us? Are you promoting our agenda? Oh, you're not? Okay then, devil worshiper. Go fuck yourself. So yeah, open up your eyes.
Exactly. And it's like I see some of, and you said before, I forget what year it was, that regime,
1979.
1979, you were more free. You had more
The country,
freedom.
yeah.
The country was more free and stuff,
Yeah.
and you were able to do, and it just took, it seems
Yeah,
like,
American presidents with their families, American actors, musicians, bands, they were having shows inside of Iran. They were having Iran was a part of their tour dates, they're part of their events, opening of their movies, opening of their tours, shows. Presidents were going there. Iran was a major tourist spot in the Middle East. The huge ceremonies, festivals, things were happening there.
yeah.
We had something like Woodstock in Iran back in the time.
Yeah, but it's like, going back to the people here, like the I guess the quote unquote blue check marks, I guess we'll call them, that they want to complain about how bad things are, but what are they doing to try and make things better here? But they're ignoring that we're getting, by shutting down other people's voices that you don't like to hear, and censoring other voices because you don't agree with what they're saying, which I'm seeing a lot of that happening now here. That's almost leading to, the type of environment you grew up in over there. You
Yeah.
know, the morality police is kind of controlling where everybody's paying attention. Like, heaven
Yeah.
forbid people speak out against China right now. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of the NBA or a lot of the sports teams that get all their stuff over there, they don't want to, you know, bite the hand that feeds them. So we just ignore all the injustices going on over there. And then, you know, the propaganda that we're fed here about Iran, you know, don't want to pay attention. I mean, we have all these, you know, the women's rights movements and the LGBTQ movements here protesting, but it's like, well, what about your brothers and sisters, especially your sisters, that what they're dealing with over there, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what you guys have been shining a light, you know, with your especially your current single, Revolution. You know, you want to share about the inspiration behind Revolution and what led to that.
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah. So all these years, 44 years of nonsense and imposing uh, wrong beliefs and everything to the people, there's been always protests and gatherings against all these things. But each time it's been getting cracked down, people were getting killed, again imprisoned and things like that. And in another recent incident back in September of this year, a young Iranian girl with her family from a small city in west of Iran, they come to the capital, Tehran. And then because the girl had a few strands of her hair out of her hijab, headscarf, or whatever, she gets arrested by the police. She gets beaten in the head, dragged on the floor, or who knows, God knows whatever happened to her, raped maybe in the prison, and then she dies. And following up with all this current uprising and everything, at this point, people got very mad and, up to the point that they cannot stand anymore. So everyone came out to the streets protesting that why you're still doing this to us, why innocent people are getting killed. And then to prove that they didn't kill that girl, they started killing other people with heavy weapons, with war weapons in the streets. More people got arrested. Young, 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old kids, boys and girls are getting killed. Girls in the school, in the primary schools or middle schools, are getting kidnapped. They're getting imprisoned and getting raped into the prisons by this fucking occupying regime that is, taking over Iran at this point. So it's been ongoing unrest, it's been ongoing protest, and since people were getting killed and the dose of the craziness just elevated and escalated very fast, everyone has been saying it that okay, this is not actually, we've been one of the first people that we're like, oh, hey, this is not protest, this is a revolution. People are trying to change things. So everyone is now have the faith that okay, this revolution is happening and we need to be victorious very soon. And the idea behind the song was just raise more awareness about what's happening. That one of the main slogans of this protest is just, you guys messed up, or you guys fucked with the wrong generation. This generation is not buying any more bullshit from you. We'll take over and we'll devour you. So, and then there are more slogans in it: woman, life, freedom, which is the main slogan of this women movement. And all the men's and everyone is supporting this, shoulder by shoulder, men and women of Iran together. And yeah, basically that's it. And then trying to say that okay, people are getting imprisoned, getting kidnapped, getting raped into the jail and prisons. So around the world, what are you guys up to? Just
Yeah.
this is happening here.
Now, you know, I'm a father. I have two daughters, you know, that are young women now, and I try and, um, remind them about, how good they have it here, and to be, when we get all these issues that come up, it's like, yeah, stand up and have your voice be heard. You have the right to have that here, but also be grateful, have a little bit more gratitude because of what you have here. Don't feel entitled, don't take things for granted. Like you were saying, I try and teach them that. I remember, I served in our military here, and I was, I'd been over I served in Kuwait, and, I remember being there and just seeing, some of the kids out there playing. And at the time of my last deployment, my girls were little, and I seen some of the kids out there playing, and I was like, there's no reason why my kids can't be playing with these kids. Why are we, why do we get information that these people aren't good? And, why do we, because they gotta pump up the machine. So they gotta feed your head full of, like our news does, our media here does, who the bad guys is, who are we supposed to be, not like, and we're supposed to be distracted by, where, like you said, with this generation now, with the internet, we're able to kind of, it's almost like a great awakening, but it still hopefully happens faster, that more people are aware that we're all brothers and sisters, and there's actually, we all share a common enemy.
Exactly. And then in this country, we've been people have been shouting for, to get rid of discrimination. Discrimination is happening to Iranian people also, inside the country and outside the country. I myself in the industry have been discriminated so many times. Opportunities, they didn't give it to me because of having a darker hair or skin tone. Industry and people in charge of any sort of like major things, they are discriminating. So
and there's validity to a lot of the things that, I guess what I was trying to say is, like, there is validity to a lot of what we protest here in the States, and we need to pay attention and stay aware of where things are headed. But at the same time, it's like, we can't forget what's happening in places like Iran, what's happening in places like China, even, Australia, that everybody used this whole pandemic thing we went through. And it seems like we had less and less freedom but safety and security is what they use to keep us protected, they say, but usually when they take some rights away, they're not right. They're not always handing them back,
Mm-hmm.
They're not in a hurry to hand them back.
Yeah.
But like, so the protests now are still continuing over there, correct?
Definitely. Yeah, it's been 80 something days so far, close to 90 days, 3 months of ongoing protests, day and night. And
nothing on the TV, it's not being,
Congratulations to the TV owners. Amazing job. Rock and roll.
The revolution will not be televised, as they say. We have Brazilian people are out for I don't know how many days protesting their last election. Like I said, the Chinese people, the restrictions that they've been under are uprising and protesting. We have what's happening with the Iranian women and everybody over there protesting. But we're being distracted now by a rapper that was, saying wild stuff on his interviews. It's a game. It's all theater.
Yes.
To keep us distracted from the real issues, to keep us divided, because a united human family, we outnumber, the controllers.
Exactly. Yeah. And unfortunately, some people keep deciding for the whole globe.
Yeah. And that's, that was, so now I guess you kind of feel where my passion's at and why I was excited to get you on to share,
Yeah. I really appreciate that. Yeah.
your story. Um, now, what else is going on with the band? Um, like any plans for playing any festivals next year or
Well,
tours, stuff like
well,
that? Or
I've been sharing this with the other interviews that I had recently. So we're constantly creating new songs and things, stuff. As far as the shows, we definitely would need and appreciate any help from anyone that can help us, because putting shows is not our expertise. It needs a lot of other coordinations and stuff. So that'd be amazing. We're willing and we're ready to. We have our regular rehearsals and performances. We had a couple of festivals during like past few years, some private TV shows and things like that. But a show, a public show, would need coordination, which is beyond my shoulder. My plates are full. We
yeah.
are a independent, self-produced band, so as a result of getting discriminated in an industry, they didn't. So a good deal doesn't exist for exotic people. So we're trying to come up with have a partnership with some organization or companies to have better shows and better lineups and tours, things like that.
Well, I'm hoping that we can do, something. Having you guys on here will help, turn some eyes your way, because everybody talks about, like, here in the rock and roll is like, the rock and roll world, especially like heavy metal, is, we're all fighting against the machine. We're fighting against the man. We're all united. But it seems like a lot of people have fallen in line. A lot of the people I grew up listening to have kind of just turned to and fallen in line. Instead of fighting against it, they're fighting for the machine because their pockets are padded.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm still one that supports the people that are fighting for a cause and trying to get the word out about injustices. And
You're doing a great job, man.
well,
Yeah.
thank you, and
Yeah.
so are you guys. So in the meantime, if there's no opportunities to play out, you guys are just going to continue to use your skills to raise awareness and get the
Yes.
word out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Well,
try and hopefully inspire others to get
yeah.
behind the cause.
Yeah. Yeah. We can simply have like the tiny shows, the small shows around. And most venues, these days are pay to play, so ridiculous policy. But I prefer to just have like a better production, better shows rather than like tiny regular venues, clubs. So hopefully we can come up with a better idea. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of, I mean, when you guys first came to the States, you said you played South by Southwest, and there was a lot of buzz, but
Yeah.
it's kind of fallen since. Like, none of these other major festivals have kind of been like, hey, let's get these guys on.
To be honest, I don't know why. I don't seriously. I mean, I said that they might have their own agenda, but we've been always active. We've been always so many years we played at South by. Almost every year we played at South by since 2008. And I don't know. I mean, it's a good question from them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, we're asking the question right now. So if they're out there listening, there's no excuse. We need to get you guys out. I'd love to see you guys perform here in Cleveland. And if I had the power and the pull, I'd love to bring you guys here, and you could check it out, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
definitely. We would love to. Yeah, man. Yeah. We would love to. Yeah.
But but like you said, in the meantime, it's just kind of you guys are going to keep doing your thing, what you're doing.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
raising awareness and getting the message out.
Yeah, we will definitely have our online presence going harder than ever. So yeah, production every day, non-stop. Songs on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, wherever. So every couple of weeks there would be a new production there. And yeah, and then everyone who would love to check us out all social media, all platforms, only Tarantist. And then we're easy to reach out. Any email, all our emails are there. Just tarantist@tarantist.com. Through any social media, you can also contact us. We have this pleasure of building a friendship with whoever have been following our music. They are a part of our family. They are our friends. By the way, another thing, on our social media, we used to have a lot of followers, but because of some bots and accounts related to the Islamic thing, the government, they've been reporting us since we are posting like socially conscious content. They've been reporting our posts, and then our page is getting restricted, and most of the time it is on read only. Whoever follows the page, it doesn't show. So our numbers are very low, but our interaction in our back panel, we see like hundreds of thousands of people each month. They're checking our stuff, which is amazing. But the real numbers down there, it doesn't show. And I have a collection of different notifications and restrictions from these social media giants also.
Yeah. No, believe it or not, man, this little podcast here has experienced the same thing. I've had two or three videos taken down, from YouTube. I've had, I've gotten, put into Facebook jail. It's like big tech. If you don't say what
Yeah,
they want you to say,
yeah,
but I'm like you. I'll when there's something that I don't agree with is going on, I'll be with the bullhorn from the rooftops until they shut me up,
yeah, yeah,
but I
exactly.
like to shine a light and give other people the opportunity. I'm sure we'll get strikes for having you on today, but oh well, I'm willing to take that fall with you, man. you know
Yeah, to be honest, at some point it gave me the depression that, okay, here's my lifetime career, and this is getting, pushed down and destroyed like this by these guys. And I went through a very bad phase of like being sad about that. And then at some point, with talking to the people over our social media and my friends, I kind of was trying. I was able to handle that still we have the opportunity to be heard. People are following us, so the numbers are getting manipulated by the social media owners, but
yeah.
real people find us, we get connected with them, we get passion and love from them, and then we feed it back to them. At this we're trying.
Amen. Well, that's what we're here for, man. We got to come together as the human race, and realize that
Exactly.
there's all these things being thrown at us because they don't want us united. They don't want us
Exactly.
together. They don't
Yeah.
want us,
Yeah.
when the people stand up, to
Yeah. Yeah.
injustice. They want
Exactly.
to
At the
just
end of the
shut it
day,
down right away.
yeah, at the end of the day, we're all human. We're all equal with each other, brothers and sisters. No one is above the other one.
Agree. And then, man, it's awesome to have you on and talk to you and help get this word out. But if you got a couple more minutes, I'd like to ask you some of the questions I normally ask the guests I have
My
on.
pleasure. My pleasure. Yes. Thank you.
As a musician, um, you know, um, you've mentioned already some of the bands that influenced you growing up, but who would you say are your top three musical artists?
Bands, you mean?
Yes.
Well, Pink Floyd and Metallica are top two. The third one, I always leave the room for getting updated, the new things. But back in the time, it was a Slayer. Then through years, I changed it with different things.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then is there, we talk about, like we talked about like Revolution, you're writing music right now to try and inspire and raise awareness for people. Has there been any songs out there as you were growing up from other artists that have been an inspiration to you?
Definitely, from the artists that I said, including Rage Against the Machine, Testament. Yeah, a lot of good songs. U2, and yeah,
Gotcha. And then now, I don't know how the schooling systems were back in Iran, but here I like to ask, like, what class you feel should be mandatory before you graduate.
I could have different answers to that, but um, maybe a world culture or a humanity class.
Agreed. It's like you were saying, you wanted to tour the world, get the band out, tour, meet other cultures, make new friends, meet other people, Um, I had opportunity to do something like that during my time in the military. Kind of different circumstances, but thankfully I've always been kind of more of a thinking for myself, and you know, looked at through different lenses at the world. But I feel it definitely played a big role in my life than to get out there and see other cultures and meet other people and try and get an understanding of, how they live. We learn more empathy for each other that way as well. Where it seems like the loudest people back here in the States I run into that think things should be done their way are stuck in their bubble. They've never been out to experience other things,
Yes.
So I
Yes,
feel that's
exactly.
very important.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then who are three people who've inspired you or you can credit for making you the person you are today?
My mother, she's the number one. And then the late king of Iran, Muhammad Reza Pahlavi, he was the king of Iran before revolution. His character, his knowledge has been always very inspiring. And the stories of my grandfather that I've never met. So I think these three are very important to me.
Nice. And then um I always ask this question. I'm sure we know yours right now, but are there any causes or organizations that you support and encourage others to check out?
Um, Nothing specific at the moment. No.
Other than just pay attention to what's going on over there, you know, especially for women's rights, women having a
Yeah, yeah. Well, the fact with organizations, most of them. I'm not saying all of them, but almost most of them. The major thing is just getting funds and donations, and just going through paperwork and stuff like that. So I'm not that much a fan of organizations, and I'm not saying everyone is like that, but it's still
yeah,
what I've seen on my personal experience. They don't get things done the way that it should. Things are at some point, if you claim that you're an organization for this cause, you got to get that done. You don't need a fucking bureaucracy or paperwork or go through this wait game or no.
yeah,
You're doing all those for donations and funds. So I prefer to just look around and be in a real world than putting a limitation of organizations in front of my vision and saying nothing beyond that. So you go explore for your own self, talk with different people, search different hashtags or keywords in a word, and try to come up with other things to get to know what do you want to and where do you want to spend your money or support or your effort or your struggle. So
nice. I agree. Yeah.
because
Um,
because United Nations, for example, or UNICEF, they are the most two major things that people are counting on them. That whatever happens, everyone is pointing at them. Hey, UNICEF, do something. Hey, United Nations, do something. Bunch of lazy people sitting on their butts and collecting tax deductibles and donations and not doing anything. What are they doing seriously? Shame on you.
exactly. And like there's the ones that, you donate, but by the time your money actually reaches the cause you're donating to after paying, the CEO and everybody else,
Yeah, and posting a statement will not fix anything.
No.
Yeah, you post this a statement on your social media, your website, and send a letter. Who are you trying to, humiliate? Who are you trying to? What are you thinking? You gotta be
Yeah.
on the fucking field, wear your boots, and be there and solve that issue. If you are claiming that a statement is not fixing anything, you can
Exactly.
use that
Yeah.
as a toilet paper. Use your fucking statements as your toilet paper.
It's like, yeah, exactly. It's like, the keyboard warriors, but are you able to strap on their boots, like you said, and get out there in the field? You're going to be a fan in the bleachers. You're going to get out there in the game and really make a difference, you know? And that's where we
Yeah,
need to get more people out there in the game
yeah.
making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Um, here's a question that usually is more lighthearted. Um, favorite toy as a child?
Well, I had a tiny kind of drum type of instrument that was making sound and beats on it. So then of course joysticks of video games before the guitar.
Yeah. Nice.
I mean, guitar is an instrument, and Persian instruments of Santur, which I started learning music with, that are my major toys. Well, it was a toy for me. I was spending time and playing with these instruments. So
Gotcha. And then we had just talked about, like, people putting their boots on and getting involved and getting, actually, instead of just hiding behind a keyboard, getting involved and doing something, being of action. What message do you have for the people that are doing that right now?
the people that are in the field,
Yes.
I'm proud of them. I try to be with them as much as I can, and those are the real heroes. Those are the people that needs to be put the light on to get the exposure or talk about, not the officials in the organizations or the other places. Those are the real heroes of the human being, living heroes of the day.
Amen. Arash, man, thank you so much for this opportunity to talk to you. And I have your email and your number. So let's try and stay connected. I'll have you back on, anytime. I support what you guys are doing, and I really appreciate getting to know you more.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure and an honor being here. I really appreciate the time that you put for this cause. And also, I would like to thank whoever is listening or watching to this. Thank you for your precious time. That means a lot to me. And I would be always happy and honored to be in touch and in person, do shows, do whatever. That would be amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah. You come to Cleveland, we're hanging out for sure.
Definitely, definitely.
And then you kind of mentioned a little bit for people that maybe new to learning about you and your band and stuff, but just a refresher, if people want to support you guys and follow and check out your music and be more involved, where would you send them?
Tarantist, well, we have a very simple website, tarantist.com. And then we have a YouTube channel, Tarantist, our Instagram, Tarantist, Twitter, the same thing. On Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, whatever platform that you listen to the music, Tarantist is just one word. And then if you would like to speak with us, you need anything, you would like to communicate more, just send us a message on the social media or email, Tarantist at tarantist.com, on Instagram message, wherever. So easy to find these days. In your pocket, in your phone. You just open the browser and search for it. You gotta do the effort though,
Yeah, you got to put in a little bit of work.
just open the app and search for it. That's it. that
Yeah,
hard.
exactly. Hit follow, hit like,
Yeah.
hit listen. Man, awesome, man. I really appreciate talking with you. If I could get you to do one last favor before I let you go.
Yeah,
Do you
for
mind
sure.
cutting a promo ID for this show? Just introduce yourself and you're listening to today's Boondoggle.
For sure. Yeah. Should I do it now?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Hello, this is Arash from Tarantist. You're listening to Boondoggle, right? I'll do it again. I'm sorry.
Today's Boondoggle.
Today's Boondoggle. Hello, this is Arash from Tarantist Band. You're listening to today's Boondoggle podcast. Rock and roll.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Arash. Appreciate your
My
time.
pleasure.
And,
Thank
and
you. Yeah, of
we'll
course.
stay
It
in
was
touch.
amazing speaking with you. Yeah, man. Take care, and we'll be in touch for sure.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.